Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm talking about 10 unhealthy habits that I had to kick to the curb in order to fix my mental health. Obviously, my mental health is not cured, but I have definitely seen a significant difference in myself and where my head goes between last winter and this winter. This time last year was probably like the worst my mental health has ever been. I spent a majority of my time in my bathtub with my shower running on me, crying. I spent the last year trying to really turn around my mental health. I was really in a place that I wasn't okay with being, and I recognized that that was not the way I wanted to live my life. The lens that I looked at life through was just totally distorted, but I have seen significant improvement in the last year. I don't live my life like I'm, gonna just explode. So I wanted to share the 10 things that I was doing wrong the last year and what I've done to help them and what hopefully you can do to help you not feel like you're stuck in this garbage mental health fog. The number one thing that I want to share: stop living your life dehydrated. When you think of mental health and what you're doing to fix it, you think of meditation and yoga and journaling and going on walks and exercise and all the things that they tell you to do. And you should do all of those things. I do all of those things, and they help tremendously. Drinking water is such a simple thing that you can do that totally will change your life. I promise it will. I never drank water. I was like the most dehydrated bitch in the world. I would tell everybody that. I lived my life dehydrated. I had convinced myself that I was prepping for survival mode. That if the zombie apocalypse happened, I could just live my days out in the woods for a long ass time, longer than anybody else, because I knew how to live without water. That's wrong. As soon as I made the choice to start drinking water, I drink a gallon of water every day for 2.5 months straight. I have never thought more clearly in those 2.5 months than I have in my entire life. It totally makes sense. Your brain needs water. Without it, it's not going to function properly. If you just Google hydration and mental health or dehydration and mental health, anxiety and depression, that's like the only things that pop up. It's insane. There was a study done by Serenity Mental Health Center in 2018 that compared the difference in people who drank water and who didn't drink water. And the ones who didn't drink water had higher chance of anxiety and depression, and the ones that didn't lived a healthier and happier life. And it totally makes sense. The human brain is about 75% water. The first way that dehydration affects the brain is that it slows down your circulation, lowering your blood flow, and less oxygen is traveling to your brain. And if you have less oxygen traveling to your brain, then of course it's going to alter the way you think and the way you feel. Dehydration is causing you to lose concentration. Well, what's going to happen when you're not concentrated? Your mind's going to wander. If you're anything like me, that's what it does. Your mind wanders, and that leads to overthinking, and now you're creating scenarios in your head that are just giving you anxiety or depression or whatever it is your issue is. Mine is personally overthinking and anxiety, but if we're not concentrating, our mind automatically, subconsciously floats to this negative area, and it can so easily be prevented if we just drink water. That blows my mind. It blows my mind in general, and it blows my mind that I never thought of it, because of course it's a muscle. It needs what it needs. It needs the nutrients. It needs water. So if you don't give it what it needs, no shit, you're not gonna feel good. Personally, I have a Hydro Flask, a 32-ounce water bottle that I take with me everywhere I go, and I know I need to drink 4 of those in one day, and I set an intention to drink 4 of them, but that's what works for me. Maybe for you, you think, okay, you gotta drink a glass when you wake up in the morning, and then you drink 2 to 3 glasses in between meals. Set timers on your phone to remind you to drink a glass of water if that's what works for you. I don't necessarily love the taste of water. I think it's boring, and I prefer pop or milk or something else that's like got flavor to it. So I add flavoring to my water. I have this Starburst blue raspberry flavoring that I fucking live by, but there's so many out there. So you have to find one that you love. And there is one out there that you love, I promise. You just have to look for it because some of the flavorings are fucking trash. That's gonna lead me into my second point, which is prioritizing eating. The basics of mental health that I discovered was what you literally put into your body. And one of my issues is that I have a hard time prioritizing food. If I didn't feel like eating, I wouldn't eat. I didn't prioritize going to the grocery store. If I was tight on money, I'd just save my money and not go get something to eat. But undereating causes lack of energy and stamina. And you're not gonna efficiently get through your day with lack of energy and stamina. Food is fuel. Food is what you need to provide your body with the nutrients it needs to function properly. A lot of the time, because I wouldn't go grocery shopping, and it's just easier, I would just, go get fast food because it's quick and it's easy and I don't have to do it. I'm not a cook, so I'm not somebody that, enjoys taking time out of my day to go make food. It's easier for me to just go through a drive-through somewhere. I prefer to just do that. But that's not what's going to give you what you need. And I'll get into giving your body what you need. That's not my point yet. My point is just simply taking time out of every day to prioritize eating, to make it a point to eat, or to make it a point to eat what you're supposed to, the allotted amount. If maybe you're somebody that overeats. I'm somebody that undereats, but maybe you're somebody that eats too much. I set the intention to eat 4 meals a day. I set my intention to eat a meal at 9, a meal at 11, a meal at 2, a meal at 5. If I had to set a timer on my phone, I had to set a timer on my phone. I went on Etsy and I downloaded a meal planner. For me, deciding what I was going to eat ahead of time throughout the day and preparing myself for that, or having meals cooked already so I could just meal prep them, made all the difference in the world. It made it easy. It would be like 4 o'clock in the afternoon and I still hadn't had one thing to eat. And then I would go and eat and I'd go and get Taco Bell. And that would be the only thing I ate that day. And that's so unhealthy. Not even because it's Taco Bell, just because of the lack of food. The lack of energy, the lack of fuel. Your body is not going to survive on that. Your body is not going to work efficiently on that. And so then your brain isn't going to work efficiently on that. And you're just going to feel sluggish and bad and gross. And that's not going to translate into good mental health. You are what you eat. And that leads me into consuming the bad food. Even if you're eating the correct volume of food, you shouldn't be eating whatever the fuck you want to eat. You have to eat what's going to actually help your body and fuel your body. If your diet is trash, you're going to be trash. I'm sorry. That's kind of aggressive, but it's the truth. If your diet is dysfunctional, if what you're eating is dysfunctional, then so is your body. Your body's going to be dysfunctional, and then you're going to be dysfunctional. The two things for me that cause me to eat the worst are ease and social activities. Making my own food, it gave me a sense of accomplishment. It made me feel proud. It made me feel good that I did something not only, for myself, that I made myself a good, hearty, healthy meal, but just simply making it. Simply being fuck, I made that. That's pretty cool. Even if you're making yourself something at home, but it's something like mac and cheese or burritos or I don't know, but it's still not the best for you. You're not eating the right combination still. And as for the social aspect of things, so much of what we do revolves around eating and drinking. You go out with your friends, you go drink. You get a drink when you go out to dinner. You're going out to dinner to meet up with friends. You go to lunch to meet out with friends, or you go on a date and you go to dinner. So much of what we do, you're going out with your family and you're having dinner. You go out to eat so much. Plus, it's just life experience. Going to restaurants, trying new things, experiencing new places, traveling, going other places, trying their food. It allows so much opportunity to eat recklessly. Reckless eating is the one way people fail to exercise discipline in their relationship with food. If you don't eat the right food, your brain and your body aren't going to operate the best way that they could. It's going to cause you fatigue, it's going to cause you brain fog, and it's going to affect your mental health. You'll never get out of yourself what you want until you control what you put into yourself. Food is a choice that we face every day. It's an opportunity for decision that you face several times every day. And if you make a bad choice, let's say for breakfast, you have the opportunity to try again at lunch. Practicing self-discipline with just your food is going to help lead you to a life that you feel is ideal. An ideal version of yourself, an ideal life. There's so many things in life that we can't control. And this is one thing that you do have the power to control. Think of it like you're doing something for you. Think of it like it's a little snippet out of your day that you can have to take time for you. You can, get up and walk away from your desk. You can walk away from a situation that might not be most ideal to just eat. You're just going to eat. Everybody understands that. Everybody knows that you got to go do that. And it feels good, even if it's not to escape something, just taking the time to walk away from a busy day and go get something to eat. Taking time away from a lazy day just to go get something to eat, just so you can feel good that you did something for you. You took the time to put the nutrients in your body to make you feel good. Another thing that I tried to do was not eat bad if I didn't have to, because I do like to go to social events, because I do like to experience new places and new things and new foods. If I have 4 meals in a day to eat, there's no way in hell I'm doing social activities all 4 of those meals 365 days a year. So if you don't have to eat bad, don't. But even more than that, if you want to push yourself further, you can still go to those social activities and just eat something good. There's always healthy options on the menu, or even just something that's a little bit healthier than you might have gotten before. Don't get a giant bowl of mac and cheese. Try the salmon. I bet it's fucking fire. It's from a restaurant. It's probably gonna be good. You have the power to put good into your body. And if you want to feel good, put good into you so that you can feel good, all encompassing. Shifting gears a bit here, another unhealthy habit that I needed to get rid of was when I would feel bad, I would pick up a self-help book and I'd read a good chunk of it and then I'd put it down and I'd forget about it and I'd never finish it. 2 things were happening when I did this. 1, I wasn't getting help out of a book that I was only half-ass reading. I was binge reading it till I overwhelmed myself, and then I'd put it down and never touch it again. So I didn't even figure out what the conclusion to the book was, or maybe how to solve the problem. I just read more about the problems that I was having. And 2, by only ever reading self-help books, I just kept making myself aware of my issues. I was aware of what my problem was. I was aware that I was ruminating. I was aware I was overthinking. I was aware I was listening to the voice in my head way too much, but I wasn't doing anything to fix it. I would read about it and I would learn about it, but then I never used the tools to actually try to improve myself. And it almost made my mental health deteriorate even more because I was so aware. I was so aware that what I was doing was wrong. And I was so aware that I wasn't right. I wasn't thinking right. I was anxious. I wasn't living my life how I knew that I could. And the fact that the books validated that for me, but then I wouldn't finish it, so I wouldn't figure out how to fix it, just fucked me up. Like it just made me feel even worse. It made me feel like there was something wrong with me even more than I already did. I've changed that habit now by trying to read 10 pages out of a personal development book every day. 10 pages is quick and it's easy, and it allows me to have a few pointers that I can use throughout my whole life rather than trying to end all be all fix my problems, especially because if you're reading 10 pages a day, it takes a little while to get through an entire book. So the things that you're reading about continuously apply to things that continuously are happening in your life, and you're not reading specifically with one event in mind. So you're able to apply what you learn in the book over a variety of things throughout your life. Your brain is a muscle. Your brain is a muscle that needs stimulation. The stronger that muscle is, the stronger you are, and the better your mental health is. Learning something takes determination, it takes persistence, it takes focus. It engages the mind and the heart in a way that can't be done in day-to-day life. Opening your mind to different worlds that you might not have had the exposure to without the book is definitely a fundamental piece of improving your mental health. Sleeping until the last possible minute. This sucks. This is like a day ruiner, seriously. And I literally did this my entire life. It's not until fairly recently that I stopped rushing through my morning, and sometimes I still even fell victim to it. I remember being in elementary school almost. Like, I think it's really, like, as long as I have had somewhere to be at 9 a.m., I've done this. More so, I feel when I reach junior high school is when I really can resonate with it, because that's when I really started to sleep in, because you weren't a little kid waking up at the crack of dawn. I would sleep until the last possible second. I knew it took me 15 minutes to brush my teeth, rake a comb through my hair, get dressed, jump in my car, and go to school. I even mastered, like, doing my makeup while I drove. I would always say, because I'd be starving throughout my day because I didn't eat breakfast, I would say, oh, I don't eat breakfast. I prioritize sleep over breakfast. So stupid. There's this process. You jump out of bed, you run to the bathroom, you get ready, you run to your closet, you get ready, you run into your car, and you get to school or you get to work and you sit at your desk and then you go, like, you get one moment to breathe before you're on to the next thing. Because you're at school, you gotta be focused. You're at work, you gotta be focused. You gotta be on your A game. You gotta keep busy, you gotta be doing what you're doing, you gotta get through the rest of your day. There's lots of things going on in the day and you've never had a moment to just relax. No wonder I would dread waking up in the morning. The worst part about getting out of bed is getting out of bed. So getting out of bed and running around, that doesn't feel good. Your body has just been stagnant for the last 6 hours. Allow yourself time to stretch and get up and move slow. You can't do that if you wake up at the last possible second. It allows you to continue on with your day one step at a time rather than in this jumbled, rushing mess. I'm gonna get up at 6 a.m. and I'm gonna meditate and journal and do yoga. That's what I personally do now every morning. And I know that I have to wake up an hour before I have to start getting ready. But doing that for myself, even when I don't really feel like doing that for myself, feels good. Again, it takes discipline, and it feels good that I know that I woke up and I did something to make myself feel good. Even if you don't have a morning routine, you're still taking time with yourself. It sets you up to have a more intentional day. And when you have a more intentional day, you feel better. You don't feel rushed and clogged and overwhelmed. You feel like you can live in the moment. You feel like you're going step by step by step. And it feels good. And when you feel good, your brain feels good and your mental health feels good. Rushing in the morning is one thing, but that leads us into the next point of rushing your entire life. If there is one thing that I needed to learn, and I'm still learning, it's to slow down. Slow down when I'm talking, slow down when I'm eating, slow down when I'm exercising, slow down when I'm walking, when I'm driving, doing anything. Why are you rushing to the next thing? Why are you rushing from one moment to the next? Where are you going? You're still in life and you're still gonna be rushing. Live in the moment. Like, you're never gonna appreciate the journey if you're rushing through the journey to get to the next thing. Mango says so too. And appreciating the journey is focusing on the simple, small things in life. Like the placement of your hands on your yoga mat, or pausing at the bottom of your tricep extension. Stop it. I promise it'll feel better to just appreciate each fucking breath, to appreciate your meal, how it feels when you chew it in your mouth, to appreciate time spent with people instead of thinking about, oh, what time am I gonna get home? Appreciate where you are. Appreciate the experience that you're having in that moment. And slow down. I think the most important thing that I've ever learned, the greatest thing I've ever learned, was that my thoughts in my head aren't me. If you were like me, and 50% of the world that has that voice in their head, because apparently not everybody has that voice, I didn't know that that wasn't me. I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to listen to that voice. I thought that voice was me. I thought that voice was my experiences and, you know, looking at somebody or listening to somebody talk and what I think to myself and what I tell myself. Aren't those my thoughts? Who else is it? Like, Author, journalist, and motivational speaker Michael Singer said it best. I'm just going to read his quote. This is from his book, The Untethered Soul. He stated, "Step back in order to see this voice is not you. You are the observer of it, not the voice." You're the observer of it. You're not the voice. You're not the voice. That blows my mind. He goes on to explain that if we took the voice out of our head and put it on the couch next to us, if it was a person on the couch next to us, we would fucking hate that voice. We would hate that person. We would hate them. Sitting next to you on the couch telling you why you suck, what you do wrong. It would sit there and tell you red flag after red flag, what's wrong with you, what this person's doing wrong, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. Maybe this is real, maybe this is not real, maybe whatever. We would be like, shut the hell up. Shut the hell up. Who are you talking to like that? Why are you talking to me like that? So why do we listen to it when it's in our head? Why do we listen to it? Because it's in our head. Because you don't know. I didn't know that it wasn't us. You don't have to listen to that voice. That voice should just be used as a suggestion. You're the observer. The voice talks and we say, why did the voice say that? Is there something I need to listen to? Use a piece of it. You don't have to use the whole thing. It's a suggestion. You don't have to listen to that voice. You are you. You have the power to make your own choices, and you can't let yourself be drove to insanity listening to that crazy ass voice. We can so quickly distort reality when we start to look at those voices as actions we should take, or truths to be told, or realities that we haven't realized are realities. Sometimes it's just not that complicated. You have to live in the present. You have to take a step back and say, what's really going on right now? Am I safe? Am I happy? What don't I like in my life that I need to change? And you have to take action to make those changes if that's what's necessary. The second I realized that all the garbage that was going on in my head, I didn't actually have to listen to, I felt like I could take a deep breath. I felt like I could live my life so much better. It felt like I had more control over the choices that I was making for myself because I didn't have to listen to negativity. You need to observe where your headspace is and ask yourself why it's in the space that it is, so that you can move forward with clarity and direction and certainty. Caring what other people think is something I have struggled with for as long as I can remember, and it is something I without a doubt still struggle with. I hate to admit it, but I do. I don't know why. I don't know why I care so much what other people think. I don't know why I put so much weight into other people's words and opinions, but I do. It's just a combination of shit that's happened in my life that's made me care so much about the judgment of others. But as soon as you can take a step back and realize that other people's opinions are never going to get you to where you want to be in life, you're never going to be happy. You're never going to fix your mental health. One thing that I needed to do was humble myself. Nobody is thinking about you like you're thinking about you. As much as you think about yourself and what you're doing with your life and where you're going and what's your path and what are you supposed to do and are you doing the right thing? Oh, people are going to judge me for this or that. People are thinking about themselves just the same. They're not thinking about you. They're not taking the time to think about you. How many times have you thought of something embarrassing and just freaking you're cringing because you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. And it's just it hits you like a wave. It's something from the past. And you just get this flash memory of this cringy thing that you did. And you're like, oh my God, why did I do that? Now that I've made you uncomfortable because you're probably thinking of something embarrassing that you've done in your past, think of the person that you embarrassed yourself in front of. Tell me something embarrassing that they did that they're probably ruminating about. Can you even think of anything? Maybe. But if you really even think about something that's embarrassing, are you thinking about them? Or are you thinking about yourself in that situation? You're probably thinking about yourself. Whatever you've embarrassed yourself about, other people aren't sitting there wasting their time thinking about you embarrassing yourself. And if they think about it, they're thinking of the situation as a whole. They're not sitting there thinking about it like you are. You make it so much worse in your head than it really is. My mom, when I was younger, told me something that has stuck with me for my whole life. We are the main character of our own movie, and everybody else is just an extra. And everybody is the main character of their own movie. You're the only person that's gonna live with you for your whole life. Stop giving other people so much power. Why would you live your life for other people? If you're living your life to meet other people's standards, you're never gonna meet your own standards, and you're never gonna get to where you wanna be. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So might as well just do whatever the fuck you want, because you're just gonna die anyways. Sorry, I was trying not to say that, but that's the truth. It sounds so negative, but it is. And if you just have lived your entire life trying to meet other people's needs and standards and wishes for you, how are you ever going to feel satisfied? And sometimes you have to do what people are going to judge you for. Sometimes life's going to suck. People aren't going to understand you, but you have to know your own truth. You have to know that you did the right thing for you. And that doesn't mean be selfish and hurt other people along the way. Avoid that at all costs. But if you do hurt somebody in the process of trying to make yourself happy, handle it with kindness and honesty and do what's best for you. Not everybody's gonna like what you do. It'll feel good knowing that you're living a life that you've created for yourself and you haven't succumbed to other people's standards. The last two things that I kicked to the curb to help my mental health is, one, I stopped identifying as somebody with anxiety. Stop identifying yourself as your problem. Stop telling yourself that you have that problem. If you continue to reinforce over and over and over and over and over and over and over again that you have this issue, oh, I'm blaming this, I'm blaming my depression, I'm blaming my anxiety, I'm blaming my ADHD, I'm blaming my BPD, you're never gonna get better. You're never gonna feel good. You're just gonna keep manifesting that same negative energy. And I'm not saying to ignore the problem. Of course, like, if you have a mental disorder, and if you have a mental disorder even more so that you take medication for, it is serious. It is a serious health issue. So if you can do anything to try to mitigate it as much as possible, like stop telling yourself and the entire world that that's your problem, it makes it hurt less. It makes it less real. Burning it into your brain and constantly reinforcing that idea just reinforces that idea. It makes it reality. And even though it is reality for a lot of us, there's no reason to constantly have it on the front of your brain. What should be on the front of your brain is how to most efficiently live your life with your disorder and how to make yourself feel better to hopefully one day overcome that disorder. Just like when you're physically ill, you hope to one day be healthy again. And that should be your goal in mental health too. And one of the ways to sure as hell make sure you don't do that is to continue telling yourself that you have this disorder. You're using it as a scapegoat. You blame it for things that go wrong in your life instead of just taking responsibility for yourself, taking responsibility for your actions, taking responsibility for your feelings, taking responsibility for your mental health. The last habit that had to go is something new for me. New as in like the last week I've learned this. Substance abuse. People use substances to escape reality. They get high, they get drunk, they use sex, whatever. This is so mind-blowing to me. I'm still not over it. Being addicted to worrying is a real thing. That's so intense and so relieving. Worrying can be used in the same exact way as addictive substance abuse. you use it to escape reality. An emotion comes up, like anxiety, and you spend the next however long ruminating in this cloud about it. Do you know how many times I've like sat on my couch, got anxious about something, and then like 10, 15, 20 minutes later, it's like I wake up, like I'm like, oh my God, like how long did I just spend in that spiral? What I personally do is create scenarios in my head to protect myself. I am so afraid of other people hurting me. I do two things. I come up with scenarios in my head as like comebacks. Like if something that I'm worried about happens or comes true, I'll know what to say in that situation, because there's been so many times that I've been confronted about something and I don't say exactly what I want to say. Everybody feels that way when you walk away from a fight or something like that and you're like, damn it, I should have said this. I hate that feeling. So I try to create scenarios that could potentially happen and then come up with comebacks for those scenarios so that I'm well prepared if I am to face anything like that about what's specifically giving me anxiety. So I do that, or I problem solve. I come up with reasons why things happen. I take pieces from stories and put them together and say, oh, this is why that must have happened. Or if I can't solve the problem, I just ruminate. I ruminate on it until I can, try to make sense of at least something. And if I can't, I just always come back to it. And those thoughts continue to make me more anxious and more anxious and more anxious and more anxious. And then I am stuck in this brain fog of anxiety. And now I've made myself even more upset than I originally was, because now I've got even more emotions built up from the things that I've thought of in my head, and they haven't even happened. They haven't even happened yet. They haven't even happened before. They're not even happening now. And here I am upset about it. This to me is almost how manifestation works, that I get upset about something and now I've made it a reality for myself because I'm upset about it and I've made it real. I go to my boyfriend to talk to him about what's bothering me, and now it's a conversation between the two of us, and I've literally brought it into reality. So now it's not just in my head. If I voice it out loud to somebody else, I've made it reality. It blows my mind. It blows my mind. So instead of worrying, you experience that initial emotion and you look it in the face. And that sucks, low key. Like, it's like kind of super scary when I think of things like having those cringe, embarrassing moments. And instead of, thinking of all the possible outcomes that could happen, or what that person thinks of me, or how I would address it in the future if it ever came up again, or how I would spend my days correcting that behavior so that I wasn't embarrassed anymore in the future, than when I see that person again. I just sit with that one thought, that one emotion, look it in the face, even when it's hard. Like, it is hard to look it in the face sometimes. You have to and then once you look at it, you observe it, you think, why am I embarrassed about it? And then that's it. It's like it goes away. It's like, it sounds so like that's not possible because we just sit here and ruminate and that's all we know how to do is overthink. So why wouldn't you continue to overthink once you've observed it and asked why? But as soon as you ask why and you give yourself an answer, it's like you can move on. I don't understand it. I don't have an answer. I don't know why it works, but it does. It works. And then you move on, and you're not spending your time worrying. You have to be able to be aware. You have to be able to stop in your tracks and recognize when you're starting to go down that path, and then rein it in. With all that said, those are the 10 things that I had to change in my life in order to get me on a better mental health track. Obviously, I'm not 100%. I don't think a person is ever 100%. I think there's always room to grow and improve and learn. But I think that there is a healthy space to be in. And I think that if you're on this video, and I think that if you are worried about it and ruminating about it and can relate in any sort of way, there's improvement to be made. I think that if in any way your mental health impacts your day-to-day living, there's improvement to be made. And that improvement isn't as complex as you think it is. I'm not 100% there yet, but I really strongly feel like I am on my way there. It's from being more intentional. Being more intentional with my headspace and what I'm doing to improve my brain health has helped tenfold. I hope you at least found one thing that you can relate to out of the 10 things that helped me in the last year improve my mental health, and you can hopefully apply something to your day-to-day life that will help you improve as well. If you liked this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps me a ton. I'm trying to live my life for myself and not for other people and do something I enjoy, like making YouTube videos. So I very much appreciate it. I wish you all well and the best, and everything is going to be okay. Everything always works out. I'll see you guys in the next one.